What's up, you guys? Thank you for clicking on this video. So as you can tell by the title, this is something that, I've talked about on the channel for a little bit, but I don't think I've made a dedicated video on it before yet. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments, but I've made like 800 videos, so I'm not going through all that, sorry. Why it's important that Transformers 1 needs to be at least somewhat a success, or to a greater extent, a success completely, When you look at the current landscape of the Transformers franchise, the past 5, 6, 7 years, since 2017, when we got our first Transformers movie failure at the box office with The Last Night. It only made, I think it was like 650 million at the box office, with a crazy marketing campaign that cost Paramount so much money, more than the other movies. I think it was. I think that was like one of the main things going around at the time, that they spent so much money on marketing they couldn't even make any money back with the 650 million because of it having the $200 million budget and stuff like that. So it was really crazy hearing that at the time, and it was crazy in general hearing that the movie only brought in 650 million. I think it was 650 million. I can't remember. Maybe it was 700 million, but I just know it was a lot lower than all the previous live-action Transformers movies, and it was ultimately a box office failure for Paramount because of how much money they spent on the movie and marketing it. So that was the first sign of, things are getting a little hairy here for the Transformers franchise, at least with the movies. Then you fast forward a year later, Bumblebee was in development at the time. It was filming at the time. Last Night failed at the box office, and they wanted to change things around so it wasn't as connected to the Bay movies. They made it sort of open to where it could be a reboot. And because of the low budget on that movie, it did well, making somewhat of a return on profit. I think it only made like 500 million or 450 million at the box office, somewhere around there. So it wasn't too profitable, but at least they did make money back on that movie, at least. And then you fast forward a few years later, we're getting the development, we're getting little tidbits and info on the next movie after Bumblebee, and obviously we got Rise of the Beast, which is somewhat of a mess, behind the scenes from what we've heard the past few years, but at least it's not on the level of The Last Night. I still think it's in a good direction for Transformers movies. It just still needs a bit of good steering from somebody in charge who knows what they're doing with the Transformers movies and these characters, and somebody who really, really cares. Not saying that Stephen Caple Jr. didn't care. He seemed like he was a decent Transformers fan at best, but just somebody above him that's in charge of what decisions get made. Because let's be real, these directors, a lot of these Hollywood directors, they do not get the final say in a lot of their movies and a lot of their decisions that end up happening in their movies. It's these executives, these producers who like to come in and meddle with the director's vision. So I'm not sure how much of this movie was actually Stephen Caple Jr.'s idea. I know it was his idea for the globetrotting and to bring in, I think it was his idea to bring in the Terracons, but other than that, who knows what else was his idea, or was the studio meddling with his vision for the movie. And ultimately that movie, it made a little bit for Paramount, nothing too crazy. Again, it's basically in the same boat as Bumblebee, but just with a larger budget. I think it made like 500 million or 550 million at the box office, not counting, streaming sales, DVD sales, all that stuff. That's probably where it made more of its money after it saw that release. But it's not as much of a profit as obviously the previous movies prior to The Last Night. So ultimately, where does that leave us with the Transformers movies going forward? Well, obviously Transformers 1 comes out 2 months from now in September, and we're in a weird position. We've never really been here before with Transformers movies. We saw close to a decade of successful movies at the box office until 6-7 years ago in 2017 with The Last Night. And now we're 3 movies in a row where it's like, okay, we're really not making too much motion here, but we still want to keep going because this still can be a profitable franchise in the theaters, because we know this from the previous 4 movies in a row that did really well at the box office. That's what everybody's thinking. At this point, it's like, where do you go from here? And when you're a Transformers fan like me, honestly, it's kind of a simple answer, and I don't get why these studio execs at Paramount do not understand how to make a good Transformers movie that can do well in theaters and make them real, actual good money. I just don't understand it. It's not that hard. We just want good characters, a good, cohesive, concise storyline with multiple movies, with the storyline, not dropping ideas in the next movie, not contradicting ideas from the previous movie like what they do in basically every Transformers sequel. Just the little things like that really matter to us fans and just people in general. You really don't even have to be a Transformers fan per se to just appreciate those things in a movie. I see people that aren't even really Transformers fans going to give these movies a chance sometimes, and stuff like that gives them a headache. The storylines that don't match up, contradicting things every other movie. It makes me feel like these people don't care, and they just want to pump out a fun action movie that gets people talking online, which in their mind ultimately gets more butts in the theater and gives them more money, which we've found out to not be the case, or they found out to not be the case the past few years with some of these more recent Transformers movies. So it begs the question, when is Paramount gonna learn to just give us a good live-action Transformers movie? I'm not even talking about animated, even though that is the next movie coming up, which ultimately will sort of decide the fate of the movies going forward. If this is another flop, that would not be good. We would be looking at probably a big delay in Transformers movies. Maybe they would probably still pump out the G.I. Joe collab movie either in 2027 or something like that. But if Transformers 1 fails, which, judging by early reactions of this movie the past few months, I don't think it's going to fail. I don't think it's going to be a bad movie. I think it's going to be pretty good, or maybe even amazing, blow our socks off. We honestly don't know, but it's been mostly positive with early receptions on this movie, so that's a good sign at least. With the last night, not with the last night, well, with the last night too, but I meant to say with Rise of the Beasts last year, it was more of a mixed reception, and of course, once it came out in theaters, it was again a mixed reception, which led to a mediocre box office return. So I'm thinking already that's already a good sign for Transformers 1. I think it's gonna at least do pretty good at the box office, make a decent profit similar to what happened with the Bumblebee movie, and I'm hoping it's a smash hit like what we had previously, 2007 to 2014, I'm really hoping those days come back, because that would mean a huge and really nice rejuvenation for the Transformers franchise with the toys, the characters, the stories that Hasbro decides to make. That's when we would start getting more risks, like what we used to when the older movies were so successful. But I just think where we are right now, it is super important that Transformers 1 does well at the box office, and especially gets a good reception from the public. Because if not, I think the Transformers franchise, at least with the movies, probably not with the cartoons and the toy lines, because those still do pretty well, minus, the little flutter here with Earthspark. I think we're going to go in a bit of a hibernation here with the movies if Transformers 1 fails. But I just wanted to bring that up in this video, that, how important it is and where we are right now within the Transformers media and franchise with Paramount, that it's pretty important that Transformers 1 succeeds, But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Let me know down in the comments below. Do you think Transformers 1 is going to be successful in the theaters, or do you not? All my social medias are linked down below. My email is also linked down below if y'all want to hit me up about business inquiries, or if you want to message me about whatever, or if you want to subscribe to my new Patreon link down below. It's got tons of exclusive content that you won't see here on YouTube or anywhere else, such as exclusive stop motions, transports photography. You guys get 1 week access before everybody else here on YouTube to my stop motion films, Discord access, exclusive music and music snippets from my stop motion films, behind the scenes of projects I'm working on, such as dioramas, videos, photography, and stop motions. So if you guys want to help support me and help support the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye!